Yeah. We are expecting Councilman Shute just momentarily. Honestly, I think maybe we'll give him, there he is. Never mind.
We'll give him 10 seconds and we'll get started. Is this your first or is this Laura?
Laura.
Oh, from Laura. Okay.
We probably should bring you
I
the
think that's a $30.
And I think, I thought she was
All right, everybody, it's a couple minutes after 6, no harm done. We'll go ahead and get started. The Gardner City Council work session, item number 1, discuss revising the City and Johnson County Rural Water District number 7 service area boundaries. Brian, good evening.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to start this evening by providing some background on the topic before you this evening. Back in 1970, the city had a defined water service area, which basically was our corporate boundaries, and Johnson 7 had a defined service area, which was everything around us. As the city grew, the city annexed property within the Johnson 7 service area, and the city extended services to these newly annexed areas. We could go to the PowerPoint. Okay. As the city began servicing areas in Johnson 7's defined area, Johnson 7's ability to repay loans guaranteed by the United States Department of Agriculture was diminished. So to avoid service area disputes and the costly and timely litigation associated with these disputes, the city and Johnson 7 reached an agreement in 2008. And I think each one of you received a copy of the 2008 agreement. This agreement defined the ultimate service area for the city and set up a mechanism to calculate the amount owed to Johnson 7 for their loss of customers. It also defined which customers would be transferred to the city. Per the 2008 agreement, the transfer of customers and payment for the loss of customers was due by January 1, 2013. To date, payment and transfer has not occurred. In 2013, Johnson 7 notified city staff that in lieu of payment, they would be interested in taking over some of the service area currently within the city's defined boundary. And so what you have before you on the screen is we talk about the transfer of 17 customers from Johnson 7 to the city. The deadline was January 1, and today, the approximate cost of that is $431,000. Also defined in the 2008 agreement, the city was to reimburse Johnson 7 $475,000 for existing infrastructure, which the city did. It set boundaries between the service areas, and the set the city to serve areas annexed in the future and reimburse number 7 for the customers and infrastructure. In 2011, the city assigned an addendum to that agreement, and that involved the transfer of the Kill Creek wastewater plant to the city, transfer of 2 city customers to Johnson 7, with a net cost to the city of $10,395, and that was paid in July of 2013. As I stated, in 2013, Allen from the Water District got with city staff and began to prepare a draft agreement for an option for us to review. Instead of cash payment, transferring existing city service areas to Johnson 7. We'll do one more if you would. What you have before you is the defined service boundaries in the 2008 agreement. You also have this here. gets a little better picture, but the area that's crosshatched on the PowerPoint presentation is what is defined as the city's ultimate service boundaries. We currently have areas that are annexed in the city, and there's currently areas that are non-annexed into the city. It's the area pretty much defined in blue or purple. The area outside of that is all contained within Water District 7's area. Next slide, please. And the service areas proposed to transfer from the city to Johnson 7 per the draft agreement are shown here in blue. It's the southwest corner of the Gardner Road I-35 interchange, where currently it's Nike School and the RV sales. And also a tract over at 183rd and Waverly, as you can see there. Those properties are currently not developed. So at this point, we had a couple of options for the city to consider. The staff is looking for direction. One would be to pay Johnson 7 for the agreement in 2008 for the loss of customers. Another option would be to transfer the land that they have proposed in the draft agreement. And a third option would be to continue to negotiate with number 7 for a compromise between the two, whether that's different service areas, whether that's part of this with cash. And so that's what's before you this evening. Jimmy? So definitely open for questions. And we do have some numbers this evening. Right now, with Nike School and the RV Sales Park, we have a current net income from those properties of around $12,200 per year. If that area were to redevelop into a retail strip mall, one of the things we looked at was the Price Chopper strip mall, and they use roughly $112,000 to $113,000 would be the net revenue from that. We also looked at like the hardware store. I think they were $6,000 a year. So payback for the $431,000 could be an extremely long period of time, or if that area redevelops, it could be a very short period of time.
Just to be clear, Brian, the number for Price Chopper is if you took their amount and spread it over the entire acreage that's south of I-35.
The southwest corner?
The area in blue there, that's where the 100,000.
So basically, what the staff is looking for tonight, again, the options before the council are one, to go ahead and pay per the original agreement. One would be to keep the I-35 service area and give the Waverly service area to Johnson 7 and find additional customers to transfer to Johnson 7. We could identify other service areas to transfer to Johnson 7 in lieu of cash. So there's a number of options out there.
If we, well, first of all, is it even plausible if Johnson 7 is open to negotiating for other service areas, or is there a agreement that they have to do? And then secondly, I mean, it seems to me like we're already in breach of contract, so are there additional fees that we incur over, I mean, like we do here?
And I haven't talked to Alan lately, he's here this evening, but they had submitted a number of options originally, looking at different service areas that could be transferred. This is the one that they came up with and proposed, but I would leave that to Alan, but they may be open to looking at other areas.
Are those areas where they already have infrastructure that can support that easily, or is it, or are there other areas, I mean, what other?
Right now, and I can let Alan talk to that, but right now in the southwest corner, I don't believe they have infrastructure that can serve that. Is that correct, where Nike is?
No.
Don't have infrastructure?
So they would have to pay in addition.
They'd have to construct the infrastructure associated with it.
And then how about the area over, over to the west side